first thing I'm doing, as always, is prepping the eye area with a base for my shadows. I would usually use a brush to complete this step, but using your fingers is actually more effective. The base is quite creamy, so the warmth of your fingers will help melt the product into the skin much quicker than if you used a brush. The base leaves a slightly tacky finish to the lids, which I'm not really keen on, so I like to go in with the shadow that's close to my skin tone to set that base in place. You could use a face powder for this step either, but I'm using a white eyeshadow all over the lid and up to the brow bone, and that way it'll double up as a highlight on the brow bone. I love cotton buds for makeup removal as well as application, so I'm starting off with this pointed tipped cotton bud and I'm mapping out the guideline as always so that I know to keep the blending inside of that line. Once I have that line laid down, I'm flipping the cotton bud upside down and using the flatter, fluffier end to soften that line. I'm placing the tip on the edge of that line and I'm feathering inwards. I'm adding some of that same brown now into my crease. I'm taking a small amount, pressing my finger in the crease and then flicking upwards. That way, most of the pigmentation will be in the deepest part of the crease and there will be a fading effect from that point. Next, I'm taking a dark brown and adding some more definition. For this look, I'm keeping the darkness to the outer third of the eyes to elongate them. I'm using the flatter side of the cotton bud again, but this time to apply the shadow only. I find that using the cotton bud ensures the colour is quite concentrated. So once I'm happy with the placement, I'm then softening the edges with my finger. I'm using my baby finger for this step too because it's small and it fits nicely into the outer third of my eye. You want to repeat these two steps again with the dark brown. Keep layering the shadow up little by little until you are happy with the level of intensity. Back to the pointed end of the cotton bud now, I'm dipping the very tip into this black eyeshadow and I'm starting on the outer third again. I'm beginning by pressing the black into the upper lash line and then once again I'm softening the shadow in an upward direction. Once you get the majority of the black off your brush and into the lash line, you can then pull the colour upwards and achieve the gradient effect that way, or if you find it a little easier, once you get the bulk of the product off of the cotton bud, you can use that fluffy side to diffuse the edges. I then decided to add a little more brown to soften the black even further, and then I just blended it out with my finger. For the inner half of the eyelid, I'm packing on a gorgeous gold shade. I'm using the flat side again opposed to my finger because I can pack on the colour much better this way. If you are a beginner, carry out the step on one eye followed by the other. That's really important in terms of ensuring that both eyes look the same. Because I do one eye first and then film on the other, I have to constantly take a step back to ensure that I'm on the right track. So I've noticed that I need to add a little more depth to the lash line and I need to bring the brown across the crease a little more on one eye to ensure that both eyes match up, so I'm doing that just now. If you have made the mistake of blending your crease colour up too high, or if you just have a harsh edge that you need to get rid of, take a small amount of your face powder and run it along the area that you need to correct. This will fade the shadow without adding any additional colour, giving you the ultimate smoky appearance. For the lower lash line, I'm going in with what I would call the standard cotton bud, and I'm smudging some of that dark brown halfway along the lower lash line. Unlike the inner portion of the eye, I don't need to be too precise, which is why I'm using a rounded cotton bud. This would be too thick for the inner half of the eye, seeing as I want to keep the gold as close to the lash bed as possible. Because we've been using cotton buds and not brushes, you will get a little bit of fallout because the shadows don't have bristles to cling onto, so I'm just dotting a little more of my foundation underneath my eye. I'm then using patting motions with my ring finger to blend the foundation into the skin. This will not only clean up underneath the eye area, but I can use it to sharpen up the eyeshadow to give me that nice clean crisp line. To finish off the look, I am just curling my lashes and keeping it quite simple by just applying a few coats of mascara to both my top and bottom lashes, and then that's it. So I hope you found this video helpful and maybe picked up a few tips and tricks. If you liked it, don't forget to comment, thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you all in my next tutorial.